Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 42 of the North Star podcast. Today, we are going to go over psychology of nutrition and just like the basis of understanding different nutrition types. This is going to be a cool part because this is part one of 3 parts. So there's going to be different episodes. So you want to make sure that you are, listening and keeping up to date because part 1 is going to be psychology. Part 2 is going to be more nutrition basics, timing, things like that. And then part 3, which I'm going to be my most excited about, is supplements and peptides. So I'm pumped for that one. Not that I don't like the others. I'm just, I get excited about that. So so part 1, psychology. Ekam's going to be joining us on episode 42 here. If you haven't, go listen to episode 40 where he talked about his story and got into the deep stuff. We had a really good conversation. We went pretty deep, man, into some just different approaches, mindsets, his story, some good stuff there. So if you haven't, go listen to that. But I'll start it off. Psychology of nutrition, understanding dieting, how it works. There's different approaches of how you go. I'll just talk about my philosophy first, and then you can go after that.
Yeah.
When I look at nutrition or psychology or mindset when it comes to nutrition as a whole, man, I just believe there's no one size fits all to it. I believe truly that there's a foundation that probably most people can follow. There's going to be different scenarios where the foundation might change, of course, but you need a foundation no matter what. I don't and I mean this in the nicest way. I don't care who you are in the way of you can be an athlete, you can be an everyday person, you can be a CEO of a business, you can be, you can work a 9 to 5, whatever it is, you have to have a foundation. It doesn't matter who you are. And the foundation can be very simple. It doesn't have to be extreme, depending on your goal, right? Foundation is going to change. If you just want to feel good, look good, live a healthy lifestyle, the foundation doesn't have to be crazy. If you're a pro athlete, you come to me and I get paid millions of dollars to perform. Well, you probably are going to have a different foundation than, the person that's the 9 to 5 and has a family and, just wants to be healthy. So that's how I look at it. Foundation for me, making sure you get, your fruits, veggies, protein, water, the basics. Obviously carbs, fats are going to be important as well, but that's going to be in the next part. We're going to talk a little bit more of structuring and what that looks like. But mindset overall, just finding an approach that works for you. You want to do keto, cool. If you want to do intermittent fasting, cool. But make sure you actually want to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Not just because you heard some random dude online say oh, this is the best diet. Most of the times when they're saying it's the best diet in the world, they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you a specific plan. That has to do with intermittent fasting or that has to do with keto.
Carnivore.
and it's usually because it's worked for them and they found something which is cool. That's awesome, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work for everyone because it won't, right? Because it won't. I'm someone who eats everything. I eat fats, I eat carbs, I eat protein, I eat veggies, fruit, whatever, right? I'm not anti anything personally. I kind of have approach of a little bit of everything. I like pizza. I do have celiac disease, so I do have gluten-free pizza. I don't eat dairy because that just destroys me as well. But I still have found some ways to eat the foods I love. It's going to come down to different person to person. But you can just let us know kind of your
Jeremy,
too.
Super stoked to be here. Same here. I think whatever diet fits your lifestyle. At the end of the day, diets work, right? They work. It's just about understanding how to sustain them, building the right habits, understanding whys about the diet, right? Not just doing a meal plan because it's a meal plan, but understanding the why on the processes. And I think that's super important, especially for us as nutrition coaches, to be able to help a client on their journey, right? Because let's say you do this diet for 8 weeks, you lose a certain amount of pounds, right? And then you yo-yo right back because you didn't know the why and you made yourself a new maintenance. And then after that, you went back and, you gained it all back.
There's nothing more defeating that, man. I've been through it.
Yeah.
I've had clients been through it. You know what it is, man? It's Okay, people want to lose weight 100%, but you know what they really want? They want to keep that weight that they've lost off. That is the end goal. That it should always be your end goal. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, you need to lose the 10 pounds first to then be able to have the opportunity to actually keep it off. Like, that is the first step. But most of the times, people don't think of it as a plan. They think of it as, I want to get there as quick as I can, and then they don't have anything after to keep it off, right? Like, okay, cool, you lost 10 pounds, but you gained 20 pounds back. Like, nobody wants that. I've never met someone that was like, hey, Jeremy, you know, I really love losing 20 pounds and then gaining 30 pounds back. Like, that's just my favorite thing. Like, I've never had anyone say that. Ever.
Only thing I can think of is like a pro bodybuilder for a show, but
sure,
then,
but,
that's
like,
not
but
usually
they're losing
like
fat. They're not losing muscle, right?
Yeah.
Most of the times when most of the time somebody yo-yo diet, they're not gaining 30 pounds of muscle back. I'm telling you that right now. They're gaining maybe 25 pounds of fat and 5 pounds of muscle, maybe.
And water retention.
There's water retention.
All that stuff.
But overall, like, no one's ever been happy that has happened, right? It's actually probably the most defeating thing, and long term, it doesn't help your psychology or mindset towards it as a whole. So I think why we started with this is because this actually should probably be the first thing that you look at when it comes down to setting a foundation, but also knowing what's realistic for you.
I agree.
Anything you want to add on that?
The one thing about fear when it comes to food. I think that's a super big thing, and we've chatted about this quite a bit about. It's very simple. Humans are really simple, right? Like, you probably heard about all those mice like experiments, but if you were to cut food out, you're gonna most likely end up wanting to eat them more, right? And especially if you are being crazy strict with this diet, right? That's being really restrictful. Like, let's say, for example, keto, right? There's gonna be a high chance that in the end of the day, you're gonna yo-yo back because you're gonna crave that even more. And then when you get back onto it and you didn't learn the why, you don't sustain it, you're gonna gain it back. So that's a really big thing. And I think that's something, honestly, in the fitness industry that has been going on for pretty unchecked for the longest time, is being so strict with these things and causing these, like, building fear up when it comes to food. And I think food's neither good or bad. It's just about your understanding on food. Yeah,
and, you know, there's rare cases where somebody needs to lose fat really quick because of health concerns. Not everyone that is listening to this is in that scenario. Most people, I don't know, is like 20, 30 pounds. Is that something that needs to be done right away as quick as you can? Probably not. Like, it's obviously, if you lose 20, 30 pounds of fat, you're going to become healthier. Okay, don't get me wrong. But if you try to do it as quick as you can and you reduce calories so much to the extent where you're literally at a point where you're so hungry and starving that you are changing your hormone profile, your lack of energy, all these things are changing, it's not going to be sustainable, and you're not going to follow it the long term. And the goal of you starting something it's not for the short term.
It's not to be miserable.
No, I think a lot of times when people look at diet, they look at it as, this is something that's short term. And it's like, but that's not the point of starting. The point of starting is you are creating a foundation that is going to be something that you follow now for the rest of your life. And what I mean by that is you're going to have your core things, and then you spider web to what your goals are. So your foundation stays, you then shift, and you then act upon what are going to be shifting through your goals, but the foundation is always going to be there.
And it took me a long time to figure that out. From a person who did extreme starvation when I was anorexic as a kid, not eating anything, hormones all unregulated, out of check, just messed up. It's a big thing. And actually, another thing I wanted to really talk about was self-efficacy, right? And the belief in yourself when getting started in the journey, right? Because, all right, we chat about this, but if you're someone who's beginning onto this journey, right, and you're like, hey, I'm going to make this new standard for myself, I'm going to work towards this and build this. A big thing on the journey would be your actual belief in yourself. I'm a strong believer that if somebody's on the journey and they believe that they're going to lose a certain amount of weight, and this person who's going to go like, I might, right? I might yo-yo back. I think they're both right? I think whatever you believe in is really going to change your results at the end of the day. Yeah. And
well, have you heard the quote, like, comparison is a thief of joy?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, if you compare yourself, like, let's say you had a friend that lost 20 pounds in a certain amount of time, and you are comparing yourself to that individual, and you're someone who is always comparing to others and seeing what they're doing and how fast they get to this and they do that, you're going to have a very, very hard time being able to actually set and hit your goals, because you're always going to be trying different things to always try to get to that 20 pounds loss. You're going to do something for a month and be like, I haven't lost 20 pounds in this month. I got to be doing something different. My friend did this and they lost 20. Then you go do that. And then it's like, you maybe lose 3 pounds and you're like, this isn't fast enough. Let's make it more extreme. And then it just creates like this, it literally creates this vicious cycle of always trying something new, but never getting to the results. And it's literally, it's like doing the same thing but expecting the same result.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what you're trying to do, and that's really, it's a really hard thing on your mindset.
I think that's, honestly, what do you think about coaches with that? Or like people who are in the fitness industry as trainers? Because I feel like most trainers can honestly relate to that. Like in the beginning, me personally, I could relate where I wanted to try everything, right? This ab workout, this thing, instead of focusing on the main foundation. I think there was a time when I first started out, that was one of a big struggle, was learning that, right? Understanding that, why are you doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
What is your foundation? Like, as we mentioned, the foundation is everything, right? And then from there, once you built that, then you can, whether the season, right? If season, I need to go, if you're an athlete, I need to eat more carbs, right? And yeah.
Yeah, you know, with coaches, it's tough too, because
there's an expectation.
Well, that, but also too, you have to understand that as a coach, if you are a coach or you have a coach, that you more than likely love fitness and nutrition way more than your client does.
Yep.
That's why you are a coach.
Yep.
You have to then realize that your client is not that individual. So what you do as a coach, what you implement, what your workouts, all these things doesn't always apply to that individual. Like if you had a 20-year-old male, let's say, and you know, they're in the weights 4 or 5 times a week, doing splits, doing this, you know, pushing the weights, eating this much protein, whatever it is, you can't expect that same replication with a 4-year-old mom that has 3 kids, that also has a full-time job, and you know, has other obligations. Like, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to work, right? So I think the biggest thing is you have to ask yourself when you sit down as the individual, does my life look like, and what is actually realistic at this time, right? Asking yourself that, like, what can I actually achieve and what is realistic in this time that will actually implement so I can actually keep this sustainable rather than always going up and down for the rest of your life.
100%.
So just all in all, I think really the biggest thing here is having the honest conversation with yourself about sitting and reflecting on, what do I want to achieve? Why am I always wanting to achieve it so quickly? Like, what's the real reason? Is it because I'm insecure? Is it because somebody made a rude comment to me?
Yeah.
Is it like, why do you have to get to it so quickly? Because most of the times the people that get it quickly are the ones that are going to keep going up and down, up and down, up and down. Most of the times the people that I've seen that have taken their time with it and don't expect things to happen right away are the ones that have actually been more successful and have had the opportunity to actually make long-term gains, right? So I
kind of think of it like those celebrities, right? Those celebrities that hit their peak really quick, They go with so much haste, and then next thing you know, nobody knows about them, right? It's like similar thing, right? If you're chasing it so fast, are you going to be able to keep it in the long run, right? Because you can.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about celebrities, man. Like, we'll look at body transformations.
Yep.
They're getting paid millions of dollars. Like, if I gave someone $20 million to get as fast as shape, and you're like, you have to be this is what you have to look like. That is a lot more enticing than, oh, well, no, you're just gonna your life is gonna stay the same, but now I want you to hit these goals, right?
100%.
You have to realize there's roadblocks, and like when a celebrity or somebody you might look up to as an whatever it is.
It might not even be the healthiest thing.
Yeah, to get to that point too, right? So you have to look at like what matters to you most, right? Is it the aesthetic goal, like how you look? Is it the performance goal? Is it the longevity goal? Like what I call, have you heard of the triangle awareness? I briefly talked about it before. I usually talk to it in my conversations, my nutrition seminars, but you have like one goal is your aesthetic, you have your performance, and you have your longevity.
Yeah.
All these goals are actually contradicting to themselves. Meaning like if you solely focus on aesthetics, your longevity and your performance are going to lack because
hormones out of whack, 6% body fat. It's not going to be healthy.
If you want performance, well, your aesthetics and your longevity are going to obviously also suffer because your performance is based off how you perform and how well you do it. And then also at the top where you have your aesthetics, well, you're not going to look the best if you're going to perform the best. And longevity is like, well, health overall. You're going to be able to have that opportunity to really get to the point where longevity sets the tone. And I personally like someone having the mindset of longevity if you're quote unquote an everyday person. That's just personally how I try to communicate it. Not that aesthetics or performance won't ever happen, but once you start to work on one thing, the other things start to trickle because you're now focusing on health and you're not solely just focusing on how you look or how strong you are right away, right? So it's just a way of looking at it.
Yeah, and I think exactly, like you get that middle ground set up, and then the choice is yours from there. It's like whatever you want to decide, right? Okay, maybe for like this amount of months, I'm going to focus on just work on my performance. Yeah. Or aesthetics. I want to do this. I want to tone down or build this muscle more bigger. I'm going to focus on this, right? And once you get that middle ground set and you've built that foundation and you are, you're basically happy with that. Yeah. Like you do it and you're like, hey, this is who I am. And then, from there, the world is yours, right? It's like...
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It's like wrapping this up into the one little thing is like do something that you actually think is going to be sustainable. Set a foundation and create an opportunity that is going to actually set you up for success. Because if you were always trying to do something different without actually giving a fair chance, and you also don't think it's sustainable, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go 100% when you've been doing 0. It's kind of like, I don't expect someone who's never worked out in their life. I'm like, okay, now I want you to go to the gym 7 days a week. Yeah. It's like make 1 day, 2 days a week at first. Like start there, right? You don't need to be doing 7 days a week because you're going to start seeing results at 1 or 2 times. If you do 0 and you go to 1 to 2, you'll start seeing results. Maybe once you start to stall on seeing 2 days, maybe go an extra day. But most of the times, most people probably going to just benefit from 2 to 3 full body workouts a week, walking, whatever they do, and you're going to be a healthy individual. Unless you want to be 6% body fat, well, maybe we have to have a different conversation. Exactly. But at the end of the day, most people are not going to come to you and like, my goal is to be 6% body fat, like shredded to the bone. It's not most people's goal. Right? Yeah.
So what are your reasons for that too, right? Yeah, I think you know on the spot. It's like you're not going to make a baby go sprint first thing. A baby has to learn how to walk and go up the stairs and crawl, right?
First, it's like not crawl on their feet, man.
Yeah,
it's like crawl, man.
And you get those results by building up to it slowly, by building everything up one by one, right? Rome wasn't built in a day, right? It took years, So,
I think this is a good episode. These 3 parts are going to be shorter, so anybody who's listening, they're like, I'm used to like 40 minutes to an hour. Like we want to just hit the basics here. We want to make it, short and sweet. So you start to understand and reflect on these episodes just to really understand things. And we also want to make it where you have questions. You open up, you ask us those questions because at the end of the day, that's why we're here. We're here to answer questions. We're here to help. We want to make sure that people around us are successful. And because once, this is how I look at it, man, is if I can help you, and I'm not saying you, just in general, I can help you become a better version of yourself. How do you think that's going to affect the people around you?
Dude, it's going to change everything.
Yeah, it's going to trickle into the other things in life, right? If you have more energy,
habit stacking.
Yeah, if you have more energy, you are becoming a healthier individual, you have a better mindset with food, how do you think that's going to affect your family? Right? It's going to impact them more and more and more. And I see it all the time, man. I see it with parents all the time. I've worked with hundreds of parents, man, like hundreds of parents. And the common thing I see, it usually trickles into the family somehow. Doesn't mean that they're going to be like that individual, but if that's like now your kids are starting to eat more vegetables, most kids are pretty receptive to what you're doing.
Yep.
If they see you eating vegetables, they see you eating fruit, they're going to want to do the same thing.
Yep.
Right? So that's just the all in all to this. But is there anything that you want to, finalize off on this episode, Ekam, like that I didn't touch on?
Personally, I think we nailed all the spots, right? Food isn't good. It isn't bad. Yeah. Diets, it's all about making it work for you and stuff that you can sustain. And yeah,
sweet.
Build that foundation and work towards it and reap the benefits, right? Reap what you sow.
Yeah, 100%, man. No, I like that. But yeah, anyone that's listening, you have any questions, look out for part 2, which will be nutrition, basics, timing, things like that. This is episode 42, part 1 of the North Star podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.